Salam, xoş gördük dostlar. Bugünkü podcast mövzumuz ümumilikdə karyera performansı və karyera yüksəliş haqqında olacaq. Qonağımız professional coach Paul Rosenberg olacaq. Mr. Paul, and please actually thank you accepting our invited, and please introduce yourself and your experience firstly.
Well, thanks for having me. Excited to be here. And I'm a performance coach and a keynote speaker and trainer. I have over 30 years of experience. I've worked all over the world with
30 years.
What?
30 years.
Yeah, 30 years of experience globally. Working with all kinds of companies and industries. I was in Baku for 3 years working on leadership development with British Petroleum and SOCAR. And everywhere I go, people always say, well, you don't know my industry. But my response always is, do human beings work at your company? And they say yes. I said, good, then we're okay. Because my focus is on the human side of things, in terms of leadership and in terms of career development and growth. So as long as there are human beings working at my client side, then I'm in good shape, because that's my focus. So excited to be here, and looking forward to a wonderful conversation on a topic that is very important to me, which is mindset and how that relates to career growth and development. So thanks for having me.
Okay, thank you very much, and accepting our invited. Actually, we can talk about a lot of topic related career and career growth and career development. And thank you your share on LinkedIn, your LinkedIn page. Thank you, great support. And actually, firstly, we can talk about mindset, general mindset, and how to generally explain mindset, and how do we create new mindset and fixed mindset, and all of these. And actually, firstly, we can beginning, and after that I will give the other questions.
Great. Let's jump in. Let me talk about mindset. Obviously it's very key in all that we do. So as it relates to career, I think the first thing we need to remember is that we can reset our mind at any time. Most of us go through life thinking that we can't change the framework with which we see ourselves, with which others see us, and we're often stuck. But I learned very quickly, just a quick story. I was working in a hospital where a patient came in who was in a coma. He was quadriplegic. They thought he was going to die. And my mindset was to talk to him every day and treat him as if he was awake, not treat him as if he was in a coma. But every day I talked with him. We one-way conversation, but as if we were having a conversation together. And one day I told him a joke, and he came out of the coma, and his eyes opened up. And so that kind of taught me that the mindset of the rest of the team was he was going to die and he was never going to come out of the coma. My mindset was there has to be a different option here. And so I treated him differently. So I think a lot of us go through life thinking that we can't start over, we can't change. And that is the first important thing about mindset, is that you can recreate it or create a new one at any time. I'm not
Mhm,
saying that it's easy, but
mhm,
that we don't have to live with whatever we are telling ourselves.
mhm. Okay. Great. Thank you for explain and your experience share us. Next question actually related powerful tools about mindset and uh, cultivate great mindset. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, uh, what do you think about that and your experience and your just thoughts? Please share.
Okay, I think again, once you understand that you can change at
Mhm,
any age, there's also this old tale that older people like me, we can't change, and that's just not true. I think
Sorry,
um,
is different young generation and
yeah, yeah,
gen-
yeah. But it's actually the same. So one mindset is that older people can't change and only young people can change, and that's not
Mhm,
true. So one of the things I see with the younger generation on mindset
mhm,
is that there are very not everybody, but generally there are shorter term expectations. So one
mhm,
of the things I coach on is breaking those paradigms, and I'll tell you
mhm,
what that is. That is, if
mhm,
I don't, it goes something like this. If I don't get promoted within 2 years, then I'm
mhm,
a failure, and I'm moving on because there is a shorter
mhm,
time frame. And so a lot of the work I do with the young entrepreneurs is having them understand that if you put a time frame, if you
mhm,
have a time clock on your mindset of what you want to achieve, then more than likely you are creating an expectation that will fail. So let me give you an example. If I say to myself, I want to be a successful startup entrepreneur,
mhm. This is
that's a great
interesting.
mindset. Great
Mhm.
mindset.
Okay,
But
growth
if I
mindset or just growth mindset.
Oh, so growth mindset, that is, to me, that's a growth mindset. That's I'm gonna be successful and create opportunities, and I'm gonna that's what I want to do. That, to me, that is growth mindset. Um what stops the growth is if I say, if I don't have a successful startup company within 2 years, then I've failed. That stops the growth. Here's why.
Mhm,
When we start to put limitations
mhm,
on what we think success is,
mhm,
then we will miss opportunities. So if I say to myself, I want to create a successful company, that's growth, that's vision. That means that you're free to create that. But if you say to yourself, I want to, and there is power in visioning, I get that. But if you say to yourself, if I don't have my startup company be successful within 2 years, then I failed. Then you're putting a, what I call, an unnatural barrier
mhm,
to creating that vision. So one is growth and one is limiting. So a lot of the and old and young people that I work with, they have mindsets that are limiting,
mhm,
that don't allow for possibility. And I will give you another example. And this is me, and it's not you, but this is me personally.
mhm,
Many times in my life, I have taken a deep breath and trusted my gut, not
uh-huh,
my brain, and allowed things to emerge and to happen.
mhm,
So, and I've had some wonderful experiences, as you know, all over the world. When I started my international career, I was invited. I got a call from the president of my company. I was in Los Angeles, and he said, "This is Thursday." And he said, "I need someone to be in our office in Spain on Monday because our general manager just quit." So I'm not a general manager. I was just a normal employee. And he also said, "By the way, Paul, 5 people have turned me down."
Mhm.
So my mindset was I was scared. I knew nothing about, I hadn't led a team before. I didn't speak Spanish, but I just quieted down. And inside me, the mindset was, let's see where this goes. That's a growth mindset. Let's see what happens. And I went, and I was very successful, and I started my international career that way. If I'd had a limiting mindset that says, I'm this person and this role, and I'm only going to be this, and I'm too scared to change. What happens if something bad happens? What happens? It's all that fear that creates
Mhm.
those limits. Yeah. If I didn't have that growth mindset of this, I'm going to learn. This is
Sorry,
exciting.
when you face fear, your
Yeah.
fear. Okay, okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So when I faced my fear, I
Mhm.
was on the plane very fearful, but I was also very excited because of my opportunity and growth mindset, which was I'm gonna learn. I get to lead a team.
Mhm.
I've never done that before. This is gonna be very interesting.
Mhm.
And that's my mindset for my whole life, is not to stay in this box. So for me, for those for everybody listening, for the career, particularly for career mindset, um, if you're open to other possibilities, and if you don't limit, if you have a growth mindset and an opportunity mindset versus a limiting, like I need to get my degree, and then this is the only I'm going to go for this job, and if I don't do this, a lot of people I coach beat themselves up. I haven't reached your goal. And then we talk, and guess what? It's not
Mhm.
growth mindset, it's limited mindset. It's much more uh narrow, and the chance of that happening is now less. The
Mhm.
chance of that, whatever that vision is happening, is now less. And so we miss, whether we're interviewing for a job or whether we're already have a job and we want our career to go, we
Mhm.
miss those opportunities if we have the blinders, like a horse, if we have the blinders on. So growth mindset is really important, whether you're interviewing or whether you're already in a job.
Actually, I cross my no, next question. It is related. Actually, you say that vision and passion, vision and passion. Uh, Actually, always I attention to uh, my career and help to others, passion, values, and especially vision. What do you think about that? Especially vision. How do we create? And it is easy or not? Why? Please.
Okay. So
Eh,
a
oh,
lot,
sorry. Especially not only career and our whole life.
but
Okay.
life.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So vision is critical, okay? Because
Mm-hmm.
um, a lot of what I see is that people define themselves by their role or their job or what they do. So when you ask them,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm going to go back to why vision is important. If you ask somebody to introduce themselves, they usually go to their job, or I'm a mother, I have 12 kids, whatever it is, whatever. They go to
Mm-hmm.
what they do, but they don't go to who they are. They go to what they do, but they don't talk about who they are. And who they
Sorry,
are,
it is important self-recognize.
yeah,
Ah, okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Because what you do is not who you are. And if you don't know who you are,
Mhm.
then it's harder to create a vision. So if I have a vision of, and again, this goes to the open growth mindset again. If I have a vision of, I want to impact my community, I
Mm.
want to add value to my
Find
family.
right community. Okay. Find
Yeah,
right
right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great vision.
Mm.
And there's another vision, which is I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 20, and that's fine too. But the more open that vision is about who you are, not what you do. So I know lots of people have the very specific vision. I want to be a millionaire, or I want to be financially secure. I'm not judging that. That's great.
Mhm.
But again, if you can take that a step further and add the who you are to it. So I want to have financial security for my family by the time I'm 30. Great vision. Even better vision is I want to provide financial security for my family by the time I'm 30, and I
Mhm.
want to give those opportunities to my children to grow.
Mm.
That's a vision plus, right? So it's not just what I'm going to do when I'm 30, what am I going to be doing? It's talks about impact. So let me just say one thing that people forget on vision and on career. Again, it's not about what you do, it's
Mhm.
about the value that you add. So remember that, the value that you add. So whether I'm interviewing, if I just talk about what I did in my curriculum, what I did this job, this job, this job. If I'm hiring somebody, I want to know, what value did you add? What value did you create? What impact did you have? Same with the vision. If I have a vision of, as I said, this, and I also include the impact and the value I bring, then it's about who I am, not about just what I do. So don't forget the who I
Got it.
am part, right? Don't forget the who I am part. Focus
Mhm.
on what you do, which is fine, but also what you bring to the table, what value you bring, what impact you have. So that's a better vision than just, I'm going to be a doctor by the time I'm 30. Okay, great. What do you
Mhm.
want to do with that? I want to save lives and create a healthier community. Now
Mhm.
we're talking about a more powerful vision. Both are okay, but together, fabulous.
Okay. We can say that not only just financial freedom. Next question and just discussion. Okay. Uh, skill set and transferable skills and soft skills. Actually, these of all stereotype important me, and I use and always try to improve and develop these skills. And what are difference? And in addition, uh, can you explain uh, divided and different individual, um, please?
Okay.
Mhm.
So let's talk about skills.
Skill set and transferable and soft skills.
Yeah, transferable. So when you're when you're talking to um a company that you want to work for and they're interviewing you.
Mhm.
And also when you're working for a company, that those skill sets that you have um, are critical. But once again, I know lots of people who have lots of skills, but they don't use them. They're on paper. They don't add any value. And so again, it's about using those skill sets um, at work or during the interview. So again, if I'm interviewing and they say you need to have 5 years of experience in accounting, and
Pe-
I only have 3 years of
Sorry, sorry,
experience,
sorry.
sorry,
Career development inside company, especially
yeah,
impact
inside company,
skill
yeah,
set. Ah, okay,
okay,
okay. Uh-huh.
yeah.
Mhm.
So inside the company, um, a lot of people that I coach them on showing those skills. Then we'll talk about transferable in a minute, but using those skills and demonstrating those skills every
Mhm.
day. It's one thing to be trained on like accounting and you're a certified Lean Six Sigma or you're certified project manager, CMP or whatever. That's fine. That tells me you have the skills. But as an employer, or even when I'm interviewing somebody, I want to hear, I want to see those skills being used. I want to have that understanding of, oh, Paul is a great communicator. It's one thing for me to say, it's somebody to say Paul has great communication skills. It's another thing if every day I show that skill set and I go back to the word value, those skills transfer to value. Let me talk a little bit about the transferability of skills and the skills that I think um, are often forgotten that are really important.
Mm.
Um, and those skills are the following. The transferable skills are,
Mhm.
in my view, not all of them, but here are some of them that are important to me. Can they communicate? Does this person communicate well? Everybody has their own style, but do they communicate well? Do they listen? Most leaders I coach don't know how to listen, right? That's the one thing that they weren't taught. They were taught to talk and take action, but the key is listen.
Mm.
Does this person have the ability to engage and connect in their own way? So those are three things that are key. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. I'm an engineer. If I can't communicate, I work with an engineering team right now. And guess what? We don't talk about their engineering skills because their engineering skills are outstanding. They're all world-class engineers, but where they need help in terms of the transferability is and how they communicate with each other, how
Mhm.
they engage with each other, how they listen to each other. All right.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
oftentimes the skills don't translate into whatever is going on in the company or whatever is going on in the interview. So for me, if you're looking at yourself, if you look at your skill set, if I want to grow and develop, I got an MBA for one reason because I was my weak area. So I looked at myself and I go, where do I not have strength? Most of us just stick to our comfort and our strength. And I forced myself to get an MBA because I knew that I needed that. I came from a liberal arts background, so I have a bachelor's in mass communication, in media, and in sociology, which are fine skills. But I knew that if I wanted to succeed in the world of business, I had to force myself to understand stuff that I didn't I felt uncomfortable dealing with. It didn't excite me. It was like accounting, statistics, whatever, all those classes I took. And I did well in my MBA, obviously, and I enjoyed it. But what it did is it gave me a bigger, broader, better skill set that I could use to add value and have impact. So, for all the listeners and all the people watching, it's always important to reflect. You can always grow, you can always learn a new skill. We go back to that first mindset of that we're
Mhm.
not set in stone, and you can add new skills to that bucket, which will allow you to do more things for your company, or for a new career. Quick example: I have a good friend who, for 40 years, he was a school teacher.
Mhm.
Okay, special education, and at the age of 60, he said, "You know what? I want to become a nurse. I'm tired of the classroom." And he became a great nurse. And he was only a nurse for 5 years. But for those 5 years, he said, "I'm going to learn this new skill set." And he was a wonderful member of his medical team. So we
Sorry,
always do
sorry.
that.
Can we call it active learning process? Can
Yes,
we call?
absolutely. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's great term for it. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that active learning and that mindset of going back to the big picture. If I have a mindset that I'm open to new things, to learning new things, to developing new skills. Um, my granddaughter, she teaches me all the technology stuff, right? Because I grew up without all the stuff we use now. So I go to her, but I embrace it. I have a YouTube channel and all that good stuff. I don't have OnlyFans. I want to be clear, no OnlyFans. But but I'm always learning. That's my mindset is I'm always open to learning new skills and trying new things. So I think that's a key, at least for
Mm.
me.
Okay, okay. That's great. That's great. Mr. Paul, actually, nowadays, everybody say that shift mindset. Uh, uh, okay, how can uh, uh, not everybody not say that, just say that shift
Okay.
mindset, shift mindset. Okay, how can uh, over overcome this process, and um, which process and which part it is needed shift our
Yeah.
mindset.
Okay.
Mhm.
Great question. So there's two things I'd like to say about that. Number one is be willing.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
sorry. Overall well-being.
No. Yeah.
Sorry, but
No. Yeah. No. Let me use a different phrase here.
uh-huh.
So on all those, on managing all that change and the shifting mindset, be
Mm-hmm.
open, be open to things that may not seem clear at the moment. In other words, take the time to reflect and
Mm-hmm.
trust. And we don't do that a lot. We think with our heads
Mm-hmm.
and we think logically. And to deal with this dynamic world, sometimes you have to just take a deep breath
Mm-hmm.
and listen to your heart, listen to your gut. So be willing to do that. Don't just stay up here with the logic, because the world is changing so fast that sometimes logic is not going to help, right? Sometimes uh, taking a deep breath, and instead of push, letting things emerge, letting
Mm-hmm.
things unfold, and being patient is going to be critical in terms of how you look at the world. The second thing I want to say, and this goes for a lot of people who've been very successful in the world these days, particularly the younger generation, is that be authentic.
Mhm.
Okay, be authentic, and by being authentic yourself with your own mind,
Yes, yes, I know. Uh-huh.
you allow success to happen. So let me give you an example. Um, I have a friend. Uh, she's on Instagram. She started off as a fashion influencer, like
Great.
millions, like
Oh,
millions. And she
oh.
was a model, and that's what she did. And she had lots of followers for her,
Mhm.
how she looked and all that good stuff. And what was hidden for her, she's called the Red Duchess. That's her. She's from Northern Ireland, red hair. And behind the scenes, she was struggling with mental illness.
Mm.
And she decided to be authentic instead of just being this fashion person. Her mindset was, I need to face this, and I also want to have an impact. We talked about that value. I don't feel comfortable just doing the fashion stuff. Like, I'm not, it's fun, but I'm not changing lives. I'm not adding much value. I have lots of followers and it's fun, but
Mhm.
she came forward authentically with her own struggles in terms of her medications and her moods and her depression. And she founded a business that talks about wellness and well-being to companies, corporate business, and an amazing program that she created. And that happened because she wanted to be authentic. She wasn't happy with her hundreds of thousands of followers, and that's all she was doing was engaging and posting and the beautiful dress and whatever. And her
Mhm.
mindset was, I am not creating value for myself or for others. And she was brave enough to say, you know what, I need to talk about my experience with
Just sharing
depression.
picture, okay? Just sharing
Yeah,
picture. Ah, okay. Mhm.
yeah. So be authentic. Be authentic and be willing to, this is so important, be willing to be uncomfortable. Be willing to be uncomfortable. Not everything is in your comfort zone. My trip to Spain was out of my comfort zone, but it created an international career, right? Get out of your comfort zone. That's how you learn. That's how you create bigger skills. Many times I've been interviewing young people out of university. I've hired a lot of them, and they come in with a mindset of, oh, they're like almost apologizing. And what I try, and I don't have a lot of experience. I go, I don't care that you don't have a lot of experience. What can you tell me about what you bring, who you are? What skills do you bring? I don't care that you only have 2 internships. I've hired lots of people that have 2 or 1 internship and that's it, plus a degree. Why did I hire them? Because who they are and the potential they had inside, the value that I saw that they could bring, and their ability to talk about those stories, not the mindset of, oh, I'd really, if somebody's ever said to me in an interview, I'll do anything, it's like desperate. No,
Mm.
come in with your value. Hey, Paul, I don't have a lot of experience, but here's some things that I did in high school or that I did at university. Here's what I learned. Here's what I can bring. It's that
Mhm.
is, and those folks were just as good as the folks who had 5-page
Mhm.
curriculums, right?
Mhm.
So it's all about, um,
It is not
that shift. Yeah,
significant for you. Not significant for you, okay?
it's not, no,
Just
because
uh,
it's who they are. It's not what. Again, we go back to this. Remember, I talked about it. What they do doesn't
mm,
mean anything to me. Yeah, it's interesting, but who they are. If I'm hiring somebody, or even if I have somebody on my team, who they are and how they show up every day is way more important to me than any 5-page curriculum, because I've had a lot of people I've hired who have turned out to be phenomenal people because I focused on that, not on what they did. You've had the experience as well, I'm sure, or team members. On paper, we say this. On paper, they look phenomenal, but when they get on the team, well, they're unable to add value or do good work. But they look great on paper. Oh, look at this. Oh, he's done this and this and this and this. It's what they did. Oh, he did this and she did that, and wow, that's amazing. And then they show up and they go, you go, who are you? Like, what? There's no skill impact. They may have skills, but they don't use them. They're not helping the team. They're not helping
Mm.
the company.
Hmm. Okay. Okay, great. Actually, summarize shift mindset related to way of thinking, feel, and behave, and we
Yep.
can say, okay, great.
There's the
Thank.
relationship there.
Mm-hmm.
And it
At
can change. It can change.
uh-huh.
Like that's the point. It's okay. Like I've
Sorry,
shifted my mindset
sorry,
multiple times in my life.
okay, or it difference individual or
Say it
individual
again.
individual it difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so what I think my mindset last year is different than my mindset now.
Mm-hmm,
My
mm-hmm,
mindset, yeah, there's an overall theme. So if I had a lifelong mindset, it's I'm open to opportunity and
mm-hmm,
I'm willing to get out of my comfort zone.
mm-hmm.
So, when I went to Baku, yeah, and I was there, um, I was separated from my family for some reasons, and I saw them for a month the last year I was there, and I had to change my mindset about what was going on and how to make that work. So just know you can always change it.
Mhm,
But then there's this overarching how you live your life mindset, which is your core values, and that
mm.
doesn't ever change, but the rest of it can.
I want to talk about, and actually, I want to give question about LD department, learning and development. Why?
Yeah.
Okay, because actually uh, nowadays we actually try to just career building, uh, just individual and inside company actually need just LD department and just training and demanding some process
Yeah.
related inside company. Actually, what are difference between these and what can do what can we do about that and
Okay.
for successful process? Okay.
Okay. So I think when you're in that L&D role,
Mhm,
just a couple of thoughts. Okay. First of all, L&D, my view needs to be both individual and
mhm,
needs to be integrated team wise. So a lot of companies do the training for a large group, but it's individual, and I think it's important to have a mix of individual training, even though there's 30 people in the room, but also a focus on team or group or department training, because the integration of that, I can I can do a workshop for 30 people, and each of them are going to take their own individual notes about what they need to do individually. But I always like to work with some team stuff within that. I think it's very important. And this is just my bias. I have a bias. Um, if I can make that learning and development experience experiential in some facet, not the whole thing, but that if I can make it experiential, the learning is deeper. So if we spend the day talking about communication, let's say is the topic, let's say it's communication. And it's just everybody's individually taking their notes about what they need. Let's say it's a group of leaders and it's communication for leaders is the topic, and they're all doing their own thing. Where I would want to go to make sure that the learning is impactful is do two things. Number one, talk about communication as an integrated concept and not just individual, and talk about that group setting. And number two, put that group into some team or group experiential settings so that they write down the notes on the slides. I'm not a big slide guy when I do learning and development because I want to take those concepts. I have slides, but let's say the concepts are listening. So everybody writes down listening is the most important part of communication. Okay, they write that down. Now I want to apply it, and I want to create exercises or create experiences where they use those concepts. You know this as well as I do. Here's my view. If learning and development is not put into practice soon after the content or the structure or the the details are discussed, this is listening, this is how you communicate. If you don't practice what you learn or you don't put that into practice, immediately you lose it. You can't see behind me because I'm blurred, but I have a bunch of notebooks from courses that I've attended and workshops and seminars and all that good stuff. That's all good. But if you don't take the content and make it real, if I don't use what I learned within 3 or 4 weeks, I'm back to being how I was before. So the challenge for learning and development, from my view, is number one, don't just stay individually because you're working with others. So not just individual, have a group dynamic or a organizational dynamic or an integrated dynamic. And number three, if you can, have some experiential, and it may not be during the training, it could be afterwards, but however you make sure that that content is put into use and they have that experience of it, then that's a three powerful buckets for learning and development. So content, yeah, sorry, individual content, integrated content, practice, experience, put it to use. And that will allow those new concepts to be embedded, to become part of their toolkit. That's what you want, right? That's the development side.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Mr. Paul, I always pay attention career culture and career literacy.
Okay.
Okay. And at the moment, as you know, nowadays, especially nowadays, personal life and professional life divided, are divided, and at the same time, it is required generally personal branding, and employee branding.
Okay.
Please explain for us and for our audience what are difference and personal branding and employee branding, and what can we do about related that?
Okay. So to
And
talk about.
especially, sorry, especially building great career culture.
Okay.
Career culture.
So, so the end in mind, the vision is great career culture. And so when you're talking about branding, I want to use a concept that I use a lot, and this is it's around presence. So I want to talk about presence first because presence is really how you show up. It's creates your brand at work, and it creates your brand if you're in Instagram, and it creates your brand at home. So it's all the
Especially
same.
LinkedIn,
LinkedIn,
especially.
yeah, LinkedIn. Okay, we'll talk about that. So
Make great content related
okay,
our
yeah,
areas, our industry.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So the present. So let's just talk about LinkedIn first, and then you can cut this out and we can re-edit or whatever. Let's talk about LinkedIn.
Actually, we
So
could recognize
yeah,
LinkedIn as
exactly. So
actually.
LinkedIn, here's my view. There are folks on LinkedIn who are just there to get followers, and the posts for me need to be engaged and add value. And you don't need 1 million followers or 25,000 followers. There are people who right now in the summer, there's a bunch of posts about uh here's my summer vacation and we should all take a break from work. Like it's the same message. And there's 400 clicks and whatever, which is fine, but my view is this: how you show up on LinkedIn or how you show up at work or how you show up at home, it's all the same thing. It's your presence. And your presence is really how people feel about you. Uh, do you add value? So the folks on LinkedIn who add value
Sorry.
or who
Presence on social media.
presence. Yeah,
Presence. Social
yeah,
media.
yeah. So remember I talked about my friend who the Red Duchess, her presence grew because she was authentic. There's a famous, she probably created influencer marketing. Her name is Doina Chiobanu, and Forbes actually photographed her wedding. That's how big she is. And she got there because she was authentic. She connected. So whether you're connecting with 1,000 followers or 1 million followers,
No
how you
difference
show
for you. No difference for you.
no, because if you're
Are you sure?
authentic,
Are you sure?
yes, yeah,
Especially
because
professional life,
yeah,
professional career.
a professional life, how you show up at work is your presence. Okay, does Paul engage? Is he a team player? Whatever the culture is, if the culture is support each other, innovate, uh, it's all those things every day that make that presence. So let me take a moment to talk about how that fits into culture. Company called Royal Caribbean, they're a cruise line. They have a wonderful work culture, and they built it by talking about the interactions we have every day. So a culture is created by how everybody shows up every day in the lunchroom, the 5 minute conversations over coffee. How do I show up? How does Paul, if you're my boss,
It is not
my
value. Yes, it
yeah,
is not value.
if you're my boss, it's how I show up. Do I lean in? Do I take on new tasks? Do I help my teammates? Am I engaged? Am I a good soldier sometimes? Um, how am I with other people? If I sit in the meeting and I'm a brilliant guy, but I don't talk and I don't ever add anything, I just sit there. You're my boss. My presence, uh, my branding is, oh, Paul is really smart, but he doesn't over time. If I don't do anything but that over time, my brand is going to be Paul is just collecting a paycheck. He's 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 doing his work, but that's it. Like he is not supporting his team. He's not, you know, he's going home every day at the same time because he refuses to, when things are tough, to jump in. That my branding changes. I could have been hired. Everybody goes, "Oh, Paul is the best thing. He's going to be great." And then how I show up every day, I don't listen. I don't talk to anybody. I just do my work, and that's fine. Everybody needs introverts. But at the end of the day, if I'm not adding any value again, guess what? My branding starts to go go down. You know, if I'm on Instagram, it always is about, or Twitter or whatever. If I'm not connecting and I'm not adding value to my audience, or I'm not adding value at work, my brand goes down. So you have to understand who you want to be, not what you do, who you want to be to your audience. Another woman who I know very well, she's a reaction to music videos. And she's very funny, and she's what's the word? Quirky. Do you understand that word? She's very funny, and she's very different and a bit quirky. And she has 1 million+ followers now because of how she shows up and her authentic personality. So when you're going to branding, be authentic. If you want to have 1 million followers, that is not built by forcing stuff. That's built by how you show up. You have a vision. I want 1 million followers on my Instagram. Then if you want that, post interesting content, engage with your audience, be authentic, and be special. If there's none of those are there, you can't force the branding. Like at work or at home, if none of those are there, you can't force your personal branding, but you can drive it. You can frame it. You can a lot of, like like this friend who did the fashion, she was happy doing that, but it wasn't, she found something that added value. And when she added that value of the mental health and she developed this company, guess what? Her followers went from here to there. Something happened with her personal branding that not only is Caroline a great fashion person and she looks fabulous, right? Not only is she fabulous fashion wise, but something is connecting with me, the viewer, that has changed who she is in terms of personal branding. And you can always change that. Back to mindset. You can always change your branding. If you don't like how you're showing up, show up differently. If you don't like that you only have 1,000 followers and you want 1 million, and that's your business, right? If you say, I'm going to earn money off of Instagram, change your branding, right? Market companies do this all the time, right? When they see their sales going down, then they reinvent themselves and they they do something else. We all have that power. So understand how you're showing up, right? Understand what your personal branding is, whether you're on Instagram, in social media, or you're at work. Ask for feedback. Understand, I always do this all the time. I always ask for feedback. How am I showing up?
Sorry, audience behavior. Audience behavior. Okay.
Adjust behavior.
Audience
Get
feedback.
Get feedback and adjust your behavior. If you don't like your presence, which is how your personal branding is showing up, if you don't like how you are showing up, adjust your behavior to where you want it to be. You're not a victim. Adjust your behavior.
Scale result, actually. Result. Okay. Okay, great. Paul Rosenberg and Mr. Paul, actually, you are master and your area and your industry. especially I love it, your performance accelerator, your and actually always I am thinking about that. It is related. It is just international career building and international career opportunities. As you know, developed country and leave developed country. Just I'm not saying that just they have chance, not others, but your experience, your experience, basing your just education and something like that. International career for international career and opportunities. And
Okay.
as I before mentioned that social media, LinkedIn, and something like that. What can we do, and how can we do, and it is a crucial matters or not. Please share us your opinions.
Okay.
Okay.
So internationally, the great news is that you can create a company digitally, remotely from anywhere in the world. You can
Mm-hmm.
create a presence. You can
Mm-hmm.
create a branding. So on that side, I think LinkedIn is probably the best platform for
Mm-hmm.
if you want to build an international career, connect and engage with people outside of your country in the industry that you're interested in, form those relationships. Because while I have lots of followers, in terms of the folks that I interact with a lot, it's a very small group. It's a much smaller group, and so you can guide your who you connect with. Just remember, when you're on LinkedIn or any place else, Instagram, you're building relationships. So if I want to have that international career, I want to build relationships internationally and build the relationships first. Too often, this happens all the time to me.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody will connect with me, and right away it's, can you help me? Right away it's, hey, Paul, I need work. Like, it happens all the time. And it's unfortunate because that is not how you build a relationship. And I'm not going to recommend somebody for work that I don't even know, right? So they'll
Mm-hmm.
connect and they go, hey, I have this business, or hey, do you need graphics? Or hey, right away they connect with me and then they go, hey, there's an ask already, and they don't even know me. So if you want to build that, two things. This, we'll talk about remote digitally first, and then I want to talk about in person. Connect with those people and build those relationships first, and those opportunities will be much more fruitful and much more valuable if you take the time to build a relationship with that person first, overseas,
Mm-hmm.
wherever it is you're looking at. But if you start right away with connecting with me or anybody else, and right away you're asking, do you know of any work? It's like, it's not going to go anywhere. So build those relationships first. For the other part of it, how I built my international career is I often took assignments in new countries, even though the pay wasn't as
Sorry, sorry,
great.
sorry, sorry, interrupt, sorry, interrupt.
Go ahead.
Uh, relationship, you can you say that relationship actually we connection networking. Okay, we can
Yes.
see. Okay.
Yeah. So connect, network, but build those relationships first before you ask
Okay.
for work or opportunities, right?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Great.
If they know you, they're gonna open doors for you. And if they don't know you, they're not. Like, the minute I get a connection, and I usually connect if they seem interesting, and then I'll get the email going right away. Great to connect. Do you have any jobs for me? like, like, time out. I'm not interested in that person because they haven't taken the time to build those relationships, right? On the personal side, I'll tell you a story which illustrates you need, I think, to build that international career, you need to be willing to work for less in terms of salary and focus on the value of that opportunity, right? So when I went to Spain, um, that opened up doors for me because I was willing to go to Spain. I didn't talk about salary. I didn't go, I'm going to be a general manager. You need to pay me this. I go, I want to grow and I want that opportunity mindset. So a friend of mine, his son, graduated university in some kind of technology, had one internship, no work experience. Google in Shanghai offered him a year in Shanghai, all expenses paid,
China.
Shanghai,
Uh-huh.
China,
Okay.
$500 a month stipend, food, apartment, all transport to work with them for a year. He turned it down. Do you know why he turned it down? Because he said, they don't value me enough. I need to be paid more. And I'm looking at this kid going, oh my gosh, you were given this golden opportunity to have an amazing
Mm.
year in China with Google. You have no work experience. You have one small internship for 2 months. And his view was, they're not paying me enough. And I'm like, the value of being 22 years old and having that on your resume, that
Mm.
experience and those connections that you're going to make, right?
Yeah.
No price on that. So be willing to sacrifice a big salary for the value of that opportunity, particularly if you want to be have an international career. If you get offered those opportunities, take them. They may not be perfect, they may be scary, they may be
Mm.
difficult, but every place I've been. So here's the places that I've lived. Okay. Okay. It
Mm.
started in Spain,
Mm.
Sweden, New Zealand, Australia, Chile, Azerbaijan, United Kingdom. I created an international career because I was willing to go where nobody else wanted to go. I was willing to take a lower salary to have those connections and have that experience and grow my skills. So,
Okay. Okay. Value create opportunities, sir.
yes, value
Okay.
creates opportunity, and
Okay.
opportunity creates value, right? That
Okay.
opportunity for my friend's kid,
Mm-hmm.
he was like, they're not paying me enough. I'm like, are you kidding me? If I was 22 with one internship for 2 months,
Mm-hmm.
what an amazing growth experience that would have been. And he would have made unbelievable connections within Google. And he would have probably had a brilliant career within Google, right? Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going, what are you talking about? So that's his mindset was, I need to pay now because I have a degree in technology. I'm like, mm, that you can't put any value on that experience in China. And it wasn't a startup company. We're talking about Google. It was Google, my friend. Like,
Great work.
right? Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, uh, thank you very much, and thank you your share with us your experience and your case. Um, Thank you. And Mr. Paul, actually, uh, we time to finish. Actually, I
Okay.
almost I finished my question. Last words for our audience. Actually, it is format. As you know, our audience and Azerbaijan, especially young people, what do you think about that? What do you say? Okay. And you're
My last,
recommended.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
just what you
No, no,
recommended.
it's
Okay.
good, good. My
Uh-huh.
my 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 final thoughts are this: that
Uh-huh.
um, have a mindset of possibility, have a
Mhm.
mindset of opportunity.
Mhm.
Don't limit yourself to what you do, but
Mhm.
expand yourself to who you are,
Mhm.
and you're going to be fine. If you focus on who you are and how you show up and the value that you add versus what you do, everything's going to be great. And so I wish all of you listening, watching, best of luck, and çok sağ ol.
Siz sağ olun, var olun. Thank you very much, and thank you your share your thoughts and your experience. One more time, thank you. I am exciting, and um, very very thanks you. Very very thank.
My
Uh,
pleasure.